So in this video, we will tackle about uh, the concepts of the Cartesian plane and how is it essential to the study of physics, especially in the physics in the life sciences and the allied health. So, so first, we need to define what is a Cartesian plane. So usually in layman's terms, your Cartesian plane is a set of two lines that are intersecting each other perpendicularly. Medyo pangit. Sorry. Medyo pa. Ayan. My bad. Pagpatawad nyo. Medyo pangit to. Ah, joke lang. Anyways. So, Cartesian planes. Your Cartesian plane is usually defined as a two sets of lines that are intersecting each other perpendicularly, meaning there is a right angle between your two lines. So this is your right angle. So let us establish the terminologies that we will use in the study of your Cartesian plane in the Cartesian coordinate system. So sorry. Ayan. So first, let us establish that your Cartesian plane at the point of intersection here, usually, it's what you call your origin. And your origin is, as I said, located at the intersection point of your two lines. And usually, your Cartesian plane is divided into four segments. This is your positive x direction, meaning it is going to the right, that's why it's positive. And your positive y direction, meaning it's going out upwards. Then next is the negative x direction, meaning it's going left from the origin. This all of this is based on the origin, by the way. And lastly is your negative y, meaning it's going down from the origin. So from that, we already established the fundamentals of your Cartesian plane. Now we will go now to your coordinate system. So before we start at the coordinate system, we first have to know that the origin is situated at the coordinate 0, 0. So that is the very starting point of your Cartesian plane. It is where everything originates because it's what you call the origin. So anyways, in your Cartesian plane, there can be uh, a set or sets of points rather that can be located on each quadrant. So what are these quadrants? There are four quadrants located on your Cartesian plane. And your quadrants are usually determined from the x-axis going counterclockwise. Now with that, it's gonna go counterclockwise from the x-axis. We know that this first quadrant that we will pass through is what you call the first quadrant. And as you go towards here, that will now be your second quadrant. And now as you go here, that will be now your third quadrant. And after that, after you made it through here, this will now be your fourth quadrant. So that is the quadrant system of your Cartesian plane. Now with that in mind, we now have to study how to plot points in your Cartesian plane. So let's always remember that the values going from the origin towards the right are increasing. They are increasing towards positive infinity. Yeah. Meaning, from the origin, as you go to the right, as you go to the right, the values will keep increasing. So let's say, from the origin, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and so on and so forth. So it goes the same, or it applies also to the y-axis. So as you go up, the values of the y increases towards positive infinity as well. So with that, we can say that the values here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, increases towards positive infinity. But we cannot say the same for the x-axis, because as you go from the origin, the values, as implied by the negative x-axis, goes lower and lower, meaning it goes towards the negative infinity direction. So let's say this is -1 to -2, -3, and so on and so forth. That is your the values on the negative x-axis go lower and lower. And also in the y-axis, it also goes towards negative infinity. So this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on and so forth. So another thing that we have, another terminology that we should remember is what we call your abscissa. Oh my god, how do you spell abscissa? And your ordinate. Your abscissa is just basically the positive x. No, not really x, positive x, but the x direction. So meaning it encompasses all of this. And your ordinate is your y. So meaning it encompasses all of this. So when we say abscissa, it is formally defined as the distance from the y-axis. So let's say the distance from the y-axis. So the point is here. The reference point is there, and let's say this is a point. So there, that is the distance from the y-axis towards that point, and that point is being measured by, well, your x-axis, diba? So that's why it's the x, diba? That's why it's the x, because it measures the distance from the y-axis, and sorry, and that line, nandun na si Upon, and that line is parallel to your x-axis. So that's why naging x yung abscissa, uh despite the y-axis being the reference point for your uh point distance, because the distance from the y-axis and to the point is parallel to the x-axis. So that's why it's the x direction. And let's have that point again. And your ordinate naman is the y, because opposite ng abscissa, it measures the distance of the point from the x-axis. So meaning from here it measures right there, it measures the distance from the x-axis towards the point, and what do you know? It is parallel to the y-axis. So meaning that's why your ordinate became the y, because it measures the point, it measures the distance from your point and the x-axis, and that distance is parallel to your y coordinate. Ayun. So let me erase this. So another thing, when you combine your abscissa and your ordinate, so this is your abscissa and ordinate rather, you form now what you call in mathematics an ordered pair. Yan. And your ordered pair usually describes the location of a certain point along the Cartesian plane. So, as we said, your abscissa is your x-axis, is your x distance, and your ordinate naman is your y distance. So, let's say you have a point here. Yan. So, as you can see, the distance or the abscissa as we discussed earlier, abscissa is the location from the x-axis, is the distance from the y-axis rather, of that point, and it's here, and we just have to drag it down. And we can see that from the origin, it is at 2. So that is at 2. And your ordinate naman is the distance from the y-axis. So from a distance from the x-axis rather. So here, and if you drag that, mali. Ayan. It is at 1. So that's 1. Diba? So this is now the location of your point. It's located at 2 and 1. So pag hindi sila interchangeable kasi pag ginawa mong 1, 2 yan, pag ginawa mong 1, 2, meaning your point will be located along the x of 1. So nandito siya. And your 2, so nandito dapat siya. So this is your 1, 2. Kaya your ordered pairs are not interchangeable. And with that, we can determine really easily the signs or ano yung magiging sign ng iyong ordered pair based on its quadrant. So I will erase this here muna. Since your all points located at quadrant 1 will be going towards the positive x direction and going upwards towards the positive y direction, meaning we can establish the fact that your abscissa and your that your abscissa and your ordinate pairs for quadrant 1 will be positive and positive, because again, all points located here in the first quadrant, ayan, I'm gonna erase it. All points located here or here will be going towards the positive x direction and going towards the positive y direction. So that's why it's positive and positive. And similarly, in your quadrant 2, your points will be going here, your points will be located here. So meaning your points will be going towards the negative x, but it is also going towards the negative y, positive y. So meaning your abscissa and ordinate in quadrant 2 should be negative and positive. Ayan. And for the third quadrant, your points will be located here. So meaning it's going towards the negative x direction and going towards downwards at negative y direction. Meaning your abscissa and ordinate for the third quadrant will be negative and negative. And lastly, your points in the fourth quadrant will be going here. Ayan. So meaning it's going towards the positive x direction and going downwards in the negative y. So meaning your abscissa and ordinate for the fourth quadrant should be positive and negative. So those are the things that are very essential to the study of physics, because your Cartesian plane will be heavily utilized in the study of kinematics in 1D and 2D, in projectile motion, in rotational motion, translational motion, and vector scalars, Newton's laws of motion. Yeah. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.